The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Hi, I'm your host, Miranda. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side. We are coming to you live from QA TV Channel 8. The lines are now open, so feel free to call. If you want a spirit reading, our loved ones are gone but not forgotten, and just a thought away. And I have a very special guest, my daughter Michelle. Thank you for coming back on.
No problem.
And today I'm going to talk to you about spirits coming ahead of time and validation. I'm going to be sharing stories with you that I just recently, after 11 years, I went back. My friend called me and said, "Karen, what are you doing in a couple of days?" I said, "No, I don't know. I don't know my schedule from day to day. So would you like to go on a fun adventure with us?" I said, "That would be wonderful. I like to go on ghost hunting tours once in a while. They can be a lot of fun and very interesting." So a couple of nights before the tour, I was up until 3 in the morning. All of a sudden I got my drawing paper out and I had just let my hand go because it's called automatic drawing, and all of a sudden a little girl came on my paper with very long blonde hair, and then next to her was a little boy that came on the paper too. So I didn't question it, and they were around the 1800s. I said, "Oh, you must be for a fun adventure out." So then all of a sudden a long gown came on the paper too, but I didn't put any face on it or anything like that. I just left it alone. And sometimes I get drawn into the wee hours of the morning and stuff like that, so it was just funny, and I said, okay, so I just put it away until the day finally came with the trip and the tour, and my friends came, knocked on the door, said bye to Miss Michelle, and we went down to Plymouth Rock, up to Burial Hill it's called. But in the meantime, there were some spirits that were around. This is my fun thing I like to do, and I get a lot of, sometimes when I go on these things ahead of time, I'll get spirits from the 1800s, and which is really cool. We met up with the tour lady, so I started talking to her about the little boy and the little girl, and described the little girl with the long hair and stuff like that. And she said, "I know who that is," and the little boy. So I was very happy to deliver the message. But then all of a sudden, and they weren't from this time frame. Like I said, they were from the 1800s, so you never know who's going to show up. And I did find out validation is a good thing to get the information and have it validated, especially from way back then. So we got going with the tour, and as the tour got started, I all of a sudden felt a blow to the back of my head and really, really weak with the clairsentience part of my gifts. And I was sitting there saying, oh boy. So I went over to the person and I gave the information, because they did say if you get anything like photographs and stuff like that, Michelle, that show up on the camera, can you let us know? And I said, okay, but I have information instead. And I did give her the drawing, by the way, at the beginning of the trip. So we went over to the old jail in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's the oldest street in America, I guess. It's 100 years old. And up a little further from that, there's this old jail and stuff like that. And she started telling us about the history. I said, well, I looked at Michelle. I said to her afterwards, I don't want to go in there, and I don't want people following me home. But it was interesting hearing about the history, but I know that people are open to that and want to know. Well, when she was talking, I was looking over, there was a church, and hopefully I get to show you the picture on the future show. I just didn't have time because time got away from me. And I looked up and there was this little white orb. It was very shiny and bright. I said, all right. So as we were talking and started going up the stairs, I started telling the tour guide, there's a little boy and a little girl that are buried together up here. And I'm feeling a captain and an Elizabeth. And I wrote all this down ahead of time. But like I said, I had no prior knowledge, Michelle, of who they were. But you know how they are with me. They don't leave me alone until they get validated. So I said, and I gave the information and things like that. So when we were up the top of Burial Hill, it can be quite fascinating, actually. And stuff like that. And I know myself, they're not there, but the energy was so strong that night. I was getting all kinds of information when I was up on the hill. And all of a sudden, I was feeling drawn to the right side of the graveyard up on top of the hill. And I said to one of my friends, I feel a captain and an Elizabeth that are buried here. And it just kept pulling me over, so I kind of got away from my two friends that I was on the tour with. So I said, all right. And so I was still continuing the conversation with her, and I said, I just don't know, but they were from the 1800s. So she said, okay, Karen. So when we finally got going, okay, thank you. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi.
How are you tonight?
Good.
Have you ever been to a medium before?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought you sounded a little familiar to me. You staying warm and dry tonight, I hope?
Yes.
Yes, if you understand, no, if you don't.
Okay.
I'm still feeling there's a motherly vibration around you on the other side. Has your mother passed away?
Yep.
And you still wonder if they're okay and everything. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
And you're curious about wanting to know. And they are looking down. I love her mannerism, though, before she got sick, like we all do when we get old and everything like that. She was fun and bubbly and everything like that, if you can understand that.
Yep.
And also, Lisa, I'm feeling her breathing issues they're all healed. She doesn't have a hard time breathing anymore.
Right.
This is why this is coming in this way with her, with you. And she's saying for me to tell you, I'm so happy. She caught up with her mom.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling light brown hair with her, with your mom or your grandmother,
Yep.
with brown eyes and everything like that.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And they're kind of like going like this. One was a little heavy set and bigger in the chest, your grandmother.
Yeah.
And your mother was like, had the figure and everything still, you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Right.
She's just like saying, she still wants to know if we're okay. And I said, I'll tell her, they're okay. And they're busy over there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, she's telling me my mouth isn't sore anymore because your mom lost weight just before she passed when she had a hard time swallowing and eating. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. She's happy she's put the weight back on.
Okay.
And she didn't like you guys fussing over her. And I'm seeing her reading an old-fashioned paperback book. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Because she loved to read when she could, because she worked very hard taking care of you guys.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it was wonderful. She's saying, I'm extending my love, and I'm fine, and your grandmother's fine too. And she's saying, your mom's saying, I'm happy. I got my full head of hair back. She had it kind of long when she was younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wore it back in the bun and everything like that. To keep it off, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
She's also saying for me to tell you, her message is we're fine. There's something about the month of June with them too. Somebody either has an anniversary or a death. Is this making sense to you?
It was just my birthday.
Huh?
My birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. And they're saying happy birthday to you on the other side. Don't give me any information. Yes, if you understand, no, if you don't, okay? Because you know me by now. And that's what their message is. They're saying happy birthday, celebrate, okay? And stuff like that. I'm still seeing that somebody with rosary beads. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, and somebody still has those.
Yeah.
And that's what I call the clencher in the reading. And I'm
Yeah.
seeing wedding rings too.
Yeah.
They have wedding bands, and that's another special piece of clencher. They're
Yeah.
just happy that you or somebody in the family has those.
Yeah.
Because there was a little controversial about those. You would know what I'm talking about. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll get very personal with me, but I try to say, okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I see a sweater. Do you understand a sweater with your mom where she was cold, or your grandmother?
Not at the moment.
Okay, but that's okay because somebody's saying my circulation is fine now.
Okay.
And actually, I'm feeling somebody was a diabetic that's with you on the other side too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now they're happy that they can cheat and eat all their sweets again because they never really paid much attention about that, if you can understand that. There's
Yeah.
also a man with them, okay? If
Yeah.
you can understand a man that's coming through, but he's kind of being quiet, but he's fixing things and tinkering with things like he did when he was here. Like I'm seeing him out fixing cars,
Yeah.
and that makes I'm so glad, and I'm thanking. I'm feeling dad or grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're together too. You're having a one big family reunion tonight too again. But they're just doing fine. Your dad's saying, my head isn't sore anymore. If somebody had problem with the head,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Not at the moment.
Okay, I just have to give you that. But your dad and your grandfather and your mother are all around you tonight. And
Yeah.
when you blow out your birthday cake on the cake, they'll be
Yeah.
with you, celebrating along with you.
Okay.
And that's what I'm getting for you tonight.
Okay.
And lots of love and light from everybody. And thank you for sharing again, Lisa.
Okay. You're welcome.
And stay warm and dry.
You too.
Thank you. That's what they'll do. They'll come back, and people. And I understand because I used to be that way when I was first learning as a medium. You really want to know, and you want that extra piece of information, which I'm going to get back to that right now, to get back on the straight. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing your family with me tonight too. I appreciate that. So I was getting that with the names and everything, because I'm not that good at names. Once in a while, I will get an unusual name, and it was funny because at the beginning, I'll get back to where I was. I kept saying, and one of my friends actually drifted off. She said, "Karen, can you come here for a minute?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Look on the gravestone. There was the captain and the Elizabeth. They were all family. They were all buried together, there at the graves at the grave." So I thought that was very interesting. Then as the night went on, the fog started rolling, which is really cool. So it's kind of a really nice night, you know what I'm saying, for something like that. Well, that's what I thought. And when I got over to a certain part of the hill, the burial hill, all of a sudden I was startled because I was stopped. And I'm a clairvoyant medium, which I see stuff out of my head. So it's like there were these two tree stumps, actually branches, but they were big and thick, and the trees are kind of big. They have some big ones up there in the old cemetery. And all of a sudden I'm like looking, and I'm saying, okay, and all of a sudden I felt dizzy and a blow to my head. And one of the tour guides actually stayed with me. He said, "Now I can tell you about the spot you're in. You said about a blow to the head earlier when we were down getting ready to come up on the tour." He said to me, "A man was struck by lightning right in this very spot. He had a blow to his head." I'm like, "Oh no," and he was knocked out of his shoes. So I was like sitting there going, "Thank you for sharing that with me," but and it was validated with the information. So it was really kind of cool. And I said to him, "Thank you for sharing that with me." So I asked him to back off and stuff like that, and with his energy, and he did. He let me alone. The other thing is, when I did a drawing for the ghost tour trip, I said to Jan, "I have another drawing here for you, but there's a woman named Esther on the drawing, and I'm feeling I'm hoping to use for terminology, African American lady, and I put one of those turban hats, I hope I'm saying it right, guys, on her head and stuff like that. So, and she said she could see it in the drawing. And she said, "Oh my God, Karen." I said, "What?" Because I like to know too. She said to me, there was a woman named Esther that worked for the Spooner family from the 1800s. I thought was very, very interesting. And I thanked her for validating that with me. And I gave her the drawing and everything like that. And the tour continued, and it was fun. You know, I like to break it up and go on a ghost adventure once in a while. And like I said, I haven't gone for 11 years, so it was kind of fun, you know, to go back. And we went back down the stairs and everything. I got back to the Spooner house. And Jan looked at me and said, "Karen, the information you gave me, I want to share with you." And I said, "Oh, okay. You know the little girl with the long blonde hair and in the nightgown?" That's how she showed herself to me, Michelle. She said, "That makes a lot of sense because she lived here in the house, but she showed me the front of her face and stuff like that." So she thought that was really interesting. And she said, her death is suspicious, that's all I can say about how she passed away. But they think it was from an affected tooth, but I can't say anymore. So I thanked Jan very, very much. And I said, "I have a couple of questions to ask you." And she said, "What?" I said, "Oh, because I see auras a lot and brilliant energies of balls of light." I said, "I live across the street at the waterfront near the Captain John boats. And all of a sudden, sometimes it'll light up and it's beautiful, brilliant. Words can't even describe it, okay? Balls of energy. And I don't see purple all the time. Purple's a rare color." And I said, "I don't know what it is." And Jan looked at me, she said, "I know what it is." She said, 170, 130, but I looked up the right information. There was 170 men that passed away. And I'm just going to get the date. 1778 at sea in the Plymouth Harbor, because of the storm, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, you know, it was a stormy night and frigid weather and things like that. And there were a couple of survivors and the two captains that were on it. There was a Captain James Gear, I think, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He survived and the other captain of the boat survived. So I thought that was really interesting. So I said to myself, I try not to question my gifts, but I'm the worst one of all. Always looking for the validation, of course. And I said to her, "Thank you so, so much." So I know somebody who's a wonderful medium, actually. And I called her. She's kind of like a mentor to me. She doesn't know it, though. And I said to her, "Pat, I want to ask you something. I see balls of energy over the harbor. And this is the information that was given to me. And I was wondering about the information." And she said, "You know what?" And I never thought of this, which is totally wonderful. She said, maybe the people that drowned there are helping the other sailors and everything so they would be okay going into shore. Okay. And everything like that. So I thought, oh, that's so wonderful. Hi, Ricky. Welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi, thank you.
How are you tonight?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you for calling. Have you ever been to a medium before?
No, I haven't.
Yes?
No.
Okay. I'm going to explain just briefly to you how I work. I don't give out medical diagnosis or anything negative, okay?
Okay.
To you. What people do is a lot of the older ones like to come in looking younger, so you're going to have to really pay attention to what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
Okay? Because I said, Ricky might not remember you the way you looked, you know, when you were younger and stuff like that. So I have to tell you that. They share their memories with me. They share their description with me and things that they did with you, Ricky,
Okay.
when they were here and alive. And yes, if you understand, no if you don't, because I don't like any information given to me
Yes.
during a reading. And thank you. And I don't give medical diagnosis or anything. That's your doctor, okay?
Yeah, that sounds good, thanks.
Okay, so you ready for me to get going?
Yeah.
I do feel like there's a male around you. Do you have a young friend that's on the other side?
What on the other side?
Huh?
A yawn.
He does?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to get going. I'm going to ask him to back off, and you might hear me saying that too. But I also feel like a father figure that's around you.
Yeah, we're in the same house.
There is? Okay. Thank you. Because I'm feeling the dad, your dad is over there?
Yeah.
Okay, your dad's all around you. You were kind of hoping to hear from him tonight a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't want to hear from anybody, it's okay to tell me I don't want to hear from them. I meant to tell you that too.
Yeah.
But your dad's all around you tonight and things like that. And he hasn't changed that on the other side, by the way.
Okay.
And stuff like that. But I'm also feeling a woman that's around you from the other side that's in spirit. And she passed away young.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Okay, so but I'm going to ask, because they're coming in like this with you for some reason. They're all like together. But I'm going to ask to back off. I do also have with your father or grandfather.
Okay. Yeah, grandfather.
Yeah, did you know your grandfather?
Yeah, I knew both of them.
Okay, so that's wonderful. They're together. They're always together. It's so funny with them. They were always the type that wouldn't always this is why it's coming in like this, okay, with me, because they didn't always they would never come to something like this, is what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
If that's making sense. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm also feeling that there's an Anthony connection with you with somebody over there on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Anthony's all around you and stuff like that. And that he's with the other two men over there. I'm feeling one of them was tall and statured.
Yeah.
Huh?
Tall. In
Like an
stature?
average height, like around 5'7"?
5'7"? Yeah, sure. That sounds about right.
Don't give me any information. I got to get my graphic up. And don't give me any information. That's good. And he's around you, and I love his energy. He's very bubbly.
Yeah.
Very, very bubbly. A little colorful with the words.
Huh. Okay. I see what
Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is how it's coming with me, because he's actually telling me I'm getting my faculties back, because somebody was confused before they passed away. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, right.
One of them, and that's why it's coming in like that and stuff like that. And he's really funny. Thank you. He's funny about everything. He's like, I haven't changed over here. And the women still like the younger one, though, if you would understand what he's saying about that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he was quite the looker, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And he's saying he was the better looker out of all of you, by the way, if you would understand that coming from him, too.
100%.
Yeah, because and he's being quite comical, but he's starting to share his memories with me, okay? And stuff like that. I'm feeling heaviness with my chest.
Oh, no.
With the breathing? Okay. No? Okay. But I'm going to get, because I have somebody who died of a massive heart attack, too, on the other side.
Oh, on my side? I don't know about my
Okay,
side.
that makes
I was
sense.
afraid that your chest was hurting you, and...
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let them back up, but your dad and your friend, they're all having a heck of a time. They want to be colorful with the words, but I can't do that on the air. You know what I'm saying? And somebody's smoking up a storm and playing the ponies and gambling.
Ooh, that's scandalous.
Does that make sense? That's
Yeah.
It is too funny about him. He got into trouble a couple of times, by the way, but you would understand that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're quite comical. But at least over here, I don't have to worry about getting in trouble and getting kicked out of places when I would go into places. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And that is, being men, not too much information that way, okay? But you would understand that?
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking
Oh, that's
about what you're
wonderful.
thinking
That's
of.
why it's coming in like this, so that's great, and I'm glad you can understand. But there's also a woman over there that's keeping them in line.
Yes.
You would understand that. I'm so glad. She's so wonderful. And just to let you know, I'm feeling like a motherly vibration or grandmother vibration.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. And she's so funny. I'm still keeping in line, and I haven't changed a bit. Not at all. And you won't get away with it over here either, like you did try to do over when she was alive. Just to let you know that would make sense to you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yes. It's too funny. You got caught one night coming in, actually sneaking in back home. Your mom caught you?
Me?
Yeah. And this is too funny. Well, she's looking down going like this. And she's saying to me, I'm just so glad to be back in my happy self. She's thanking you for helping her out. You knew that would make sense.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah. And I'm so happy. I love her energy. And she's learning now not to help out so many people, too. Because she would help out like her friends when she could, because she was really a stay-at-home mom, and that would make sense to you.
Yeah.
And she's traveling, by the way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and she's traveling. She says it's wonderful because now I don't have to wait in line anymore for my ticket and get, you know what I'm saying, to board the plane.
Yeah, she's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all around you, and somebody has your mom's ring.
Like they stole it or no?
Huh? You don't understand that?
No.
Okay, but check out and take it with you, because sometimes it might make sense later on. If it doesn't make sense right now, I just have to give that to you. But your mom is saying, I'm just sitting back in the easy chair, reading an old-fashioned book, watching my game shows.
Oh, that makes me happy to hear.
Yeah, and soap operas too.
Ooh.
And I loved the way she was
So
very
telenovelas?
sharp. Yeah, very sharp lady and everything like that. And that's what I'm getting for you tonight.
Okay.
Okay? Oh, and
Thank
happy birthday in July, if that's making sense.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know it's something little, but that's what I call a cruncher. And I'm giving it to you anyways, but I know it's a common name, but I'm feeling a Mary that's on the other side for you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're right.
Awesome. Mary's saying hello, by the way, to you.
Oh, thanks.
And extending lots of love.
Okay.
Thank you, Ricky, for sharing, everybody.
You're welcome.
And they're watching over, looking down from you on the other side, okay? And you wanted to know if they were okay.
What?
Okay.
No.
Okay. But thank you very much, and thank you for sharing, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You
Have a
too.
good day.
Bye. I want to thank Ricky for that, because sometimes when the energy, the deceased loved ones are over there, they'll try to outspeak each other too, and they get going. So I got to share that with Ricky. That's what was going on with his reading, and the females were kind of funny actually. They were like keeping the men in line and stuff like that. So thank you very much, Ricky, for sharing, everybody. But somebody did want to know if they were doing okay over there, so I have to give that. Otherwise, your family will follow me home, and that's okay if they don't. But I had to tell you that too. To get back to energies, by the way, was really interesting with Jan at the end of the tours when she was sharing the little girl that was coming through. I said, thank you so much for sharing her. And the little boy, because they were buried together up on Burial Hill and stuff like that, so dates and names and everything. I said, I love that time frame anyways, the 1800s, and Plymouth is full of wonderful history like Quincy is too, and stuff like that. And if you ever have a chance, to go down to Plymouth, explore the history, it's a wonderful thing to do, a wonderful way of Quincy too. And the other thing I want to talk about is my last show I did. When you guys get seeing me draw on the paper, I'm glad everybody does pay attention at home, because what was really cool was, even though it wasn't for somebody here at the station, it was for somebody that came down to visit myself to help me with something, and her friend and stuff like that. And I did a little mini reading for her down in my kitchen, and I said, I gotta ask you something. I have a drawing to show you and stuff like that. And she said, okay, Karen. So I went to get the drawing, And she said to me, I know who that is. And I said, wow, because, I was so happy. Because sometimes when I do the drawings, sometimes they'll do, like I said on a couple of shows back, they'll have a little deformity or something will give me, once in a while they'll come out like the way they looked, but they like to show me and stuff like that and things like that. I was so happy. And the most amazing thing about that was the week I did my last show, it was her anniversary. And so sometimes I have to take a step back and take myself out of it, because it's not about me like everybody always hears me talk about and say. So I said, oh my God, that was so wonderful, and things like that. And I was really thrilled that she could take her, and she took her home, of course, and then there was another drawing. Heidi, okay, and which was wonderful too, God, I can't say because that's very personal. Hi Heidi, welcome to Whispers from the Other Side.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Have you ever been to a meeting before, Heidi?
I have.
Okay. You don't need me to explain how I work and communicate with the people that passed away, do you?
I don't think so. No?
Okay, thank you. Yes, if you understand, no, if you don't. Sometimes, like in Ricky's reading, it can be I forgot to ask him to back off, but there's a lot of people that can come through at once. I just wanted to tell you that.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to get going with you, and they'll share their memories with me too, okay? And
Okay.
sometimes when it comes in a little confusing, it's because when the person passed away, they are confused, and then
Okay.
they, let me know that they're doing all good right now, okay?
Sure. Okay.
I'm going to get going with you, because I do have a woman that's around you, and I feel like you have, or somebody you know, has a friend that passed away from cancer, a girlfriend.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask her to back off. But I also feel today must be family night at the station, because I do have a woman that's around you from the other side that you do miss very much, if that's making sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm feeling like this eternal love, which is a family member.
Are you asking if it's a family member?
Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. Thank you. Because she's saying to me, I'm feeling a motherly vibration or a grandmother vibration. Do you have one of them that's over there on the other side?
Yes.
Okay. Because they're like extending all this eternal love to you. And I'm getting going like this because is Mom over there?
Are you asking if it's my mother?
Okay, your mom is over
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I can't hear you. If you could speak a little louder, I would appreciate it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Because she's all around you and stuff like that. But I also am going to give this to you anyways, because I feel like there's a child around you that's on the other side.
No.
Okay, but that's okay. There's coming in like this with you tonight and stuff like that. So
Okay.
your grandmother's being very kind and very nurturing and stuff like that, because she helped take care of you guys when you were younger.
No, not so much.
Not all the time, but just was there like for
Maybe
family
in
things and
spirit.
stuff like that.
You okay?
Okay, and it's coming in like this for you. I do have a male figure. I'm feeling like there's a dad over there for you.
Correct.
A dad, and
Yeah.
your dad's he was a very proud man.
I'd say more humble.
Okay, and stuff like that. But I'm gonna give what I'm getting for you anyways. But he was there, but not always there for you guys.
No, he was always there.
Okay.
But he worked a lot. So.
All right, Heidi, and he's like there, but not there. If that would make sense to you.
More like he was there emotionally a lot, but it couldn't be because he was working a lot.
Okay, I just can't go saying too much because I'm really not feeling the connection with you a little bit. But I do have Mom and your grandmother that are over there.
Okay.
Okay, and your grandmother is like, she didn't see you all the time, but when she did, that's why I came in that way. Loved being
Okay.
around you kids.
Okay.
And I see one of the women at the beach.
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Someone's
Yeah.
collecting seashells, by the way.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm getting that for you. I'm feeling more like your grandmother, too. And your mom. Your mom loved the ocean. One of them loved the ocean a lot.
Yeah.
And thank you. And I appreciate. Your grandmother was actually quite the looker when she was young.
Okay.
And that would make sense?
Kind of,
Well,
sort of.
she considered herself,
Maybe
and
she
stuff like
considered
that. You know
herself.
how they are, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But but she's so happy. Her arthritis isn't bothering her anymore because one of them had arthritis.
Correct.
Okay, so that's really good. And she's saying, I'm not in any more pain anymore.
Okay, good.
And not in any more pain anymore, and stuff like that. And your mom is like sitting there saying, she loved you guys a lot, like any mom would. You know what I'm saying?
Correct, yeah?
And she kept you guys, the family, together. She said I
Correct.
was the breadwinner in the family, and that would make sense to you.
Not the breadwinner, but maybe like the
Okay, don't give me
stability.
any information, okay? But I'm feeling, I'm feeling somebody said they helped keep the family together during some times. And I'm not going to get personal with them, but does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I'm thanking the person over there. And I
Okay.
understand if you don't want to hear from them, but that's okay too. And I'm getting it again, but when I get it, I have to give it. I'm feeling a heart attack with somebody.
Yes.
Okay,
My
and I'm
father.
feeling a man
Yeah.
that had the heart attack. And it was massive, quick, and boom, I was gone.
Correct.
And there was nothing nobody could do.
Correct.
Because by the time it's coming in like this with me, because it was just so fast with his crossing.
Correct.
And by the time that the ambulance got there, it was too late.
Something like that.
Okay, yeah, something like that. I had to give that to you. So that's just the way of interpretation with me too, as a
Okay.
spirit medium and stuff like that. So I'm glad you couldn't understand that. He's still missed. The male is still missed by someone in the family.
He's stillness, you're saying?
Yeah? Okay, and I have to give that to you. I'm sorry. This is how it's coming in. This is why somebody's saying they're sorry to you. Heidi, do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so thank you. They're so sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad you understand that, so I'm going to leave that at that. But you needed to hear that. You did everything you could for your mom and dad and your family, though, just so you know that.
Okay.
And they also, your mom is like, I'm just so glad, like, I was feeling earlier pain in my head with one of the women over there for you. It might not be for you. It could be for a friend or someone that had cancer.
Okay.
Okay? I just have to give that to you. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you just wanted to more or less know if your family's okay.
Yes.
And you missed your dad, especially with Father's Day.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to say, I know. She was looking up at the heavens at me. He's doing terrific, by the way.
I'm sure.
Okay? And this is what I'm getting for you. And I don't like making stuff up or going things. And I do see wedding rings, because I've had wedding rings around in the station with me tonight. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the conjure in your reading, so I have to give that to you. Mom, Dad, your grandfather, they're all doing wonderful. And I'm seeing your dad or your granddad, your dad and your grandfather are saluting you.
Oh.
I'm feeling military with them. With one of
No, they
them.
weren't military.
Yeah? Okay.
No.
Does that make sense?
Not the military.
Okay, because I have to give military with you anyways. But they're all around, and your father, he's saying, celebrate my life, not my passing.
Okay.
And that would make sense to you.
Yes.
And he said, I'm just so happy that I'm back in my physical body. And I'm not very tall, so anybody who's above 4'10" is tall to me.
No, he was probably 5.
Okay, shh, don't give me any information.
Sorry.
But they're all around you, extending love. And check about somebody that had pain on the left side of their head before they passed away. Because sometimes our families, you know how it is, they don't tell us everything that's bothering them or wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to give that to you. And they're just, your dad is saying, I saw them, you know, honoring me on Father's Day. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was listening in. I just had to tell you that, Heidi.
Okay.
And I was listening, that's how he would say, I saw them honoring me on Father's Day and keeping my memories away. But you guys did a nice thing. You were sharing the happy times that you did together.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what I have for you tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to give you this name anyways, but I'm feeling a Paul.
Passed on?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
No,
I just have to put it out there. If anyone can understand a Paul, I have a Paul floating around the station with me.
Okay, maybe it's the next caller.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any questions, but you just wanted to see if they were okay.
Yes, thank you, Karen.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
That's why it came in like this, by the way, with me too, just to let you know that.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Heidi. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thank you for calling. It makes it hard because when they all try to out-jump each other, but because some energies are stronger than others, and it gets hard for me, but I know I'm just doing my job and stuff like that, so I'm just in between the veil person, trying to get them in. Sometimes it could be bits and pieces with information, when they deliver things, like it might not be a lot. With some of them, some people are quite comical. They'll tell you their whole life story, whereas other ones will tell you the life story, but be very brief, like her family, Heidi's family was being, but that's okay. She just needed to know, hey, we're fine, we're healed. I just want to tell you, we're healed, whole, and healthy, Heidi, just to let you know that too. And that's what they're doing too. And I was getting back to the drawing, with the drawings and stuff like that. So when I gave my friend the drawing, she was so happy about receiving the art, because I just give it away and stuff like that with the drawings. And again, it goes back to validation. And I was so thrilled when the tour guide said, it's about validation. And I was so happy to hear that when she said about the validation part of it, because that's what I like, is the validation part of it too. So a couple of years ago, back in 2018, somebody said to me, it's not always about the validation. And I said to myself, and I don't mean to sound snobby when I say that, but in my world it is. Because the Reverend taught us in class, always get the special piece of evidence and all of that in your reading. That's why I thank Heidi for that, and Rick and the other person that called earlier too. And it's just like I said to him, that's why it's coming in like that, because somebody's around me that was confused just before they passed away. But I also, if anybody can understand this at home or in the station, I have a man that was quadriplegic, I think I'm saying it, who was in a wheelchair and stuff like that. It was very hard for him when he was here, but he kept on moving and kept on grooving, even though he didn't let anything stop him in the wheelchair. But he's doing fine now and stuff like that, because when he did pass away, he wanted to thank his family and friends for the care, and I get that a lot too, because that's important too. People want to, people do get curious, did I do enough? You know what I'm saying? When they took care of me, and he was having breathing issues and everything like that, but it was really good though too. And to get back to the I wanted to share about my drawing, the rose I have over here. I'm an artist, but the rose I have, it's a weeping rose, because it's okay to cry, it's okay to be sad, and the tears are coming down and the rose petals are falling off the rose, but with the beam of white light that I have going through the rose, it's wonderful because they're getting healed. And that's what I'm about too, is, you know, healing. I'm not a doctor, like I said, but the person's all healed with the energy. And Michelle, you have something that happened a couple of days ago. If you would like to share, I would appreciate, with the feeling part of the gifts.
When I was sleeping, I felt like someone tickled me in my foot.
And you came in to me in the kitchen. Can you explain to everybody at home?
I thought it was you.
Yes, she thought it was me waking her up, because sometimes when she gets into a sleep, she gets into a deep sleep, and she's a wonderful little medium too. But it was really something else, because I said to Michelle, so what else did you feel when they were doing that to you?
I just felt the tickle.
Huh?
I just felt the tickle.
Okay, because she did. I said to myself, you know, with the touching part of it, that's the clairsentience part of the gifts, because you do feel them.
Yes.
And stuff like that. And you shouldn't really do this. We used to tickle you. Your friend and I used to tickle her away, because like I said, she would go into a sound sleep. And a couple of times, Michelle came to me and said, I saw Pa, my dad, in a dream, because when you're young and just learning everything.
Yes.
And stuff like that, you get curious. And when your dad came in a dream too, it was like, okay. But she said, Ma, guess who came to visit with me in my dream? Pa did. I said, oh, was there a message? He was just there smiling and letting me know that I'm okay and everything like that. And I said, I thanked her for that, because sometimes there's not always a message in a dream. They're just letting you know that I'm visiting. You know what I'm saying? And what was wonderful about, and I thank you for sharing that too with me. That way, you know, people know at home, hey, I'm feeling something, but I just can't see who the heck they are.
And no one was there either.
No, and that's okay, but it's a good thing, because you usually have good experiences with the people that have crossed over to the other side.
Yes.
And I said to her, if you don't want to hear from somebody, it's okay. And if you guys at home don't want to hear from a particular deceased loved one that's coming through, just ask them. You know, go to the white light, and, you know, go with your families. Just picture them going into the light. You know what I'm saying? With a good intent, of course, not a bad intent. And just going and, you know, being with the family and everything like that. And that's really wonderful, you know, that you share that with me. We have a very active, I call it the studio, where I do all of my artwork and all of my writings and everything like that. And at night it can be very active and stuff like that. And I said, did you see that? And Michelle sees them too. And I said, I know who I can ask. I'm going to ask my landlord. And that's all I could say about the name and everything like that. But I said, did somebody pass away in the apartment? And he said, no. But what I did was, what was really awesome is he filled me in on a little history of the apartment. He said fishermen lived here. So I thought that was really actually very interesting, because of the fisherman story that I shared earlier, where they light up the ocean. And it can be very scary to pass away in the ocean, but at least, you know, it was too late when the men got found. So I said, I wondered if it's the fishermen too. But I thought that was very interesting to hear that fishermen rented our place out and stuff like that. So I don't know, I didn't share that much of that with you, but I wanted to let you feel you won on that one. My friend has been on the show a couple of times, and it was really kind of funny, actually. She went away on the weekend and stuff like that, my friend Cindy. And I said to her, can you please take your people with you? Because sometimes they won't go on the family outing or whatever. You know how it is, Michelle. I said, oh, someone's at the doorway looking for Cindy. And sure enough, there was some information coming from her, so I just went like this on my phone. I said, I know you're away, but so-and-so's around your husband, you know, and she understood the message and everything like that, and I wanted to thank her for that, but can you please take your people with you? And things like that. She said, I asked them to come along. I said, oh, good, come on down. You know? But it was really I was happy about that, because so you don't want to text somebody when they're on vacation having fun with their families. So-and-so came in. I can't talk too much about this because that happened once a long time ago with a friend and stuff like that, but I don't want to say too much because it's in my rewrite, okay? And stuff like that. So, you know, that can happen, but I'm not going to text so-and-so when they're in Turkey, in a totally different country, you know, and at that time they really didn't have phones. You know, they were just starting to come out with text messaging people, which wasn't a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was really wonderful. And I wanted to see the young woman in the drawing again, too, with everybody at home, because she did pass from cancer. And I said, I'm going to keep her up on most of my shows and hope that someday somebody will know to recognize her. Just to let you know, you have orbs above you that are shining, lighting up, and orbs are actually spirits that are around our deceased loved ones. They're not fully formed yet, and there's been up you like the last half an hour of the show and stuff like that. So I just wanted to let you know that they're all around you, Michelle. You can take your people and stuff like that. But yeah, she has been around me, and I just like to put her out there once in a while with her, and to let you know. And your dad is very proud of you. Okay, I had to let you know that's kind of personal with Michelle, so I'm not going to get into it anymore, but he's telling me to let you know, because you still miss him a lot.
Yes.
Very, very much, too.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And if you need a tissue.
I'm okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he's looking down on you, smiling every day and stuff like that, just to let you know that, too, as well. And, you know, sometimes it's hard. You know, especially when you see somebody pass away, it's very, very hard. But you know, when they've been sick or with a terminally ill disease, that, you know, their journey is, you know, they're getting ready to cross over. Like, for instance, my grandmother was actually 70-something when she passed away. And when she did, she said to me, I had an aunt that I could call up when all the spiritual stuff was going on, because my late mother was not open to this at all. You know that, right? And she said, Karen, I got something to share with you. And I said, what? Your grandmother was mentioning all these people that passed away. And this was in the early 70s. You definitely didn't talk about such stuff. And things, and being brought up Italian Catholic myself, I said, okay. But she started saying, there's Uncle Don, there's Aunt Tess, and all these people. I said, you know what? Now that I fully understand my gifts, they were getting ready to help her cross over, which I think is totally wonderful. And I said to myself, you know, it's nice to know that you're not alone when you know, and stuff like that. Do you have any questions that you'd want to know about anything?
Nope.
And it was funny because I said to myself, all right, and things like that. And it was funny because I used to love to go to her for information and things like that with because I like to know too. Like I said in the beginning of the show, this is tied up with the beginning of the show with Lisa too. Thank you for calling. And it was funny because I said to her, Auntie, I miss you very much and stuff like that. And the other thing I like to do when an anniversary comes around, and like tomorrow is her dad's anniversary, we like to celebrate life. So we got a box of Milano cookies, and we're gonna share that and stuff like that, and go out to eat, and it's all the happy times. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing I do like to, you know, we like to do is together as a family and celebrate the people's lives, you know, and things like that. I'm just saying to myself, relax, you know, and stuff, and everybody at home. It's really, you know, a wonderful thing, you know, but it's also very hard when you're seeing your loved ones suffer like that and in pain when they're getting ready to cross over. But grief, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to be sad. It's very okay to cry, okay? And a time to be happy, you know what I'm saying, and celebrate. And when they're getting ready to cross over, they get caught up with a relative or family friend, you know, when you die and everything, and I always share that with you sometimes, because you get curious about stuff too.
Yes.
I know you do. You want to share some of that?
No.
Michelle's being very camera shy with me tonight, but that's okay, you know, and stuff. And, you know, it's really wonderful because, you know, it can be very comforting, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, when an anniversary's coming up and you're feeling a little sad about that, that's totally normal, you know, because it's your loved one, you know, that you miss very much. And even though they're not around physically, they are around spiritually, sending, you know, lots of love to you on the other side. And it's really nice because when my dad got ready to pass away, I got to be there a couple of days before he passed. And I talked to him like he was here. So you can do that, guys. You know, if somebody is not here in the physical state, but in the coma state or a car accident that they aren't here, just share stuff you did with them. You know what I'm saying, Michelle?
Yeah.
And things like that. So, you know, and help them, you know, say it's okay. Everything is going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? And I've had some people say to me, Karen, it's funny you should say that when you talk to somebody when they're getting ready to cross over, that they're not alone. Because sometimes I've had a couple of experiences where they have said to me, you know, I have said to them, it's okay to cross over. It's okay to go to the other side and meet up with your families. And your family's fine. They just drifted off to sleep. And that's so wonderful. And it was peaceful. Sometimes, you know, that can happen too. These are just some of my experiences that people have let me know that they had too. And, you know, I want to thank the callers that called tonight. Thank you very, very much for sharing your loved ones with me. And I want to thank my crew, and guys, thank you for coming in tonight. I appreciate that you coming in to help. And QA TV for letting me, I feel very honored and blessed to share my gifts with the community, you know, and to give back, you know, the gifts, you know, with everybody. And very blessed. Our loved ones are gone but not forgotten, and just that way. And sending lots of love and light your way from the other side, just to let you know that too.